So while we are physically separate, it seems like as good a time as any to think about where God is calling us. And I'm not talking about where God is calling us physically, but spiritually and emotionally. Where is God calling our thoughts and our feelings and our faith? And does God speak to those parts of us? Well, Psalm 139 says, "You have searched me and you know me, O God. You know my thoughts. You created my inmost being." And then later on it says, "Search my heart, know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any idolatrous way in me, and lead me on the eternal path." So, yes, I do think God cares about our thoughts and feelings and has plans for them. And here's what the prophet Jeremiah says, "I know the plans I have in mind for you, declares the Lord. They're plans for peace, not disaster, to give you a future filled with hope." And I hope that comes as good news. See, if you're anything like me, your thoughts and feelings are probably quite troubled, worn out, overwhelmed with sorrow, grief, and frustration. Or maybe you're just numb and you don't know what to think or feel anymore. Though the restrictions are easing, we are still in the midst of a pandemic. Murder hornets are invading the Northwest. Protests and counter-protests are shaking our communities. And I think there's a tropical storm working its way up towards the coast. How long do we have to wait for you to put these peaceful plans into action, oh God? Well, here's what I think. I think God's plans for our thoughts and our feelings prepare us for action. See, when we're filled with hope for the possibility that more of God's kingdom could break into our current reality, then we start to live like that's possible. And that makes a big difference in the way that we treat one another, not as enemies and objects of ridicule and revenge, but as family and objects of reconciliation. So I want to invite us to sing along with the hymn that asks that question: what is the world like when God's will is done? It was one of the Porch Sing installations from earlier this week, but in case you missed it, this is our opening hymn as we seek to lift our thoughts to things above.